What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thanks for tuning in. It is a nice chilly Christmas Eve here on the farm. We're going to try to get a little bit of work done on a project that I have been very excited to get started on. Let me show you guys what we're working on. We got the old 7.3 here sitting in the driveway, and we have a major upgrade coming to it, specifically in that area and that area. So these are obviously not the factory headlights that came on this truck. When I bought the truck, it had these headlights on it, which are the 05 to 07 style headlights, which means they're basically a one-piece design instead of the top piece and then the bottom piece. Now, for the most part, these lights look pretty darn good, and they work fairly decently. Without a doubt, much better than the stock ones. The stock lights on these trucks are pretty darn awful, really, really bad. If you've owned one of these trucks, which if you're watching this channel, you probably have owned one of these trucks or do own one of these trucks, you'll know that they're not very good headlights. So today's project, or the project over the next week or two, is going to be fixing this issue. If you've been around the channel for I guess honestly at this point a long time, you'll know on my last 7.3 I built a nice custom set of projector headlights that I put into that truck, and I got absolutely spoiled with them. If you've gone from a nice set of headlights back to a kind of a crummy set of headlights, you'll know just how annoying and bad it is. So today's video, we are going to remedy this issue, and we are building another set of custom projector headlights for this 7.3, and I'm going to walk you guys through step by step on how to do it. We're doing it on a budget. I don't have a ton of money. All my money's going into this place right now, renovating the house, so we're doing it on a budget. I'm going to show you guys how nice of a set of headlights you guys can build for really not that much money, especially when you're talking about the custom projector headlight world. Those things go up into the thousands very, very quickly, and we are going to be a fraction of that. So let's go inside, and I'll show you guys what we're working with. Alrighty, guys, so here we are inside looking at the new parts that are going on the truck. Don't mind the mess in the background. Like I said, the whole house is in the middle of some renovations. Focus on this. So if you guys are familiar with the Super Duty trucks, you know that these are the 05 to 07 headlights. We're going back with that style because I really like the look of them. And these are the more or less the Harley Davidson style headlights, or look of headlights. What we're going to be putting into them is these Acme H1 projectors. These are what I used on my last truck. They worked great. They're still working great a number of years later. So for a budget price, these things are a very solid option. Obviously, we're going to have the bulbs and the ballast that come with them. We're going to go into all these parts as we're going along. You guys don't really need to see them right now. These are the projector shrouds that are going to be going in there, kind of sitting inside the headlight like that. But this is what we are working with. All said and done, I think I'm probably in this everything I need right around $350. I don't know exactly, but right around $350. And when you're talking about that, if you were to go and buy a set of these online, they might have slightly higher end projectors, probably $100 more, but you're looking at easily over $1,000 for a set of lights like this. So $350 for a super, super nice set of headlights. That is a great option in my opinion. So I don't want to do a whole lot more talking here at the beginning of the video, trying to make this as quick as possible. It is a bit of a process, but trying to make it too quick so I don't bore you guys. We are going to be throwing these things in the oven and opening them up so we can get to work on installing the new projectors inside of them. So to start this build, we need to get the front lens off of these headlights. It is sealed with a glue all the way around the perimeter there. So what we're going to do is we're going to be throwing these in the oven to loosen up the glue so then we can pry off this lens. Got a variety of different tools over here that'll help us. Some spreader pliers that might help, and then some pick tools and some different flathead screwdrivers. We're going to be taking off the different metal pieces that we have. Depending on which ones you get, you might have some screws throughout here. So take those screws out and then take off any metal clips that you have. This is the adjustment screw, so I'm not going to be taking this one out, but everything else, probably pop off this back sealing ring if I can, take off the paper. Just remove the extra stuff off of it that doesn't need to be on there before we throw it in the oven. Word of the wise, speaking from my own experience, if you're going to be doing this, you can do it with factory OEM headlights, but I'm going to tell you it's going to be a heck of a lot harder. Most OEM headlights are sealed up with a type of glue that is really, really hard to break free. Most aftermarket headlights, you guys won't be able to see it, but it's a black butyl sealant that it loosens up at a much lower temperature and makes it a lot easier to do it. If you're going to go with OEM headlights, one, I would recommend against it. Just pick up a set of aftermarket ones. But if you're going to go with OEM headlights, a lot of people will actually take a Dremel tool or something and just do a cut all the way around the perimeter as low down as they can, and then they glue it back in place. That's how much harder it is to get that glue out. I went with aftermarket headlights, one, because I like the look of them, and two, I know how much easier it should be to get these separated.
Quick pause here, guys. This is me from the future speaking to you. I wanted to let you guys know that I have since learned that these headlights that I have in front of me right now are in fact sealed up with Permaseal sealant, which is a black, very, very tough glue that does not do well with the heat or doesn't release well with the heat. So you're going to see that I struggled a lot getting these open. I got them open, but it was an uphill battle. So after doing a little bit of research, I found that an easy way to tell whether you have butyl sealant or Permaseal sealant is to heat it up in the oven like you would normally or with a heat gun, and then take a little pick tool. If it's butyl, it's going to kind of pull off and be stringy like hot cheese, and if it really fights you and it just tears or peels up in one big piece, then you're probably dealing with Permaseal, which is what I had here. I didn't know this in advance. Had I known this, I probably would have ended up just cutting them open, but I went through the long battle of opening these up by hand, and, well, you guys will see.
So that's a bit of a warning, caution for you guys out there. I'll leave it at that. So we're going to be throwing these in the oven at 275, right around 270 to 280. I'm going 275 for 7 or 8 minutes. And it's probably going to take a few cycles of that, but we'll throw these in the oven for that amount of time, and then we'll just start using our tools, go through all these different spots, pop up the plastic a little bit, and slowly start working the lens off of it, and then we'll go ahead and do them for both headlights. So we're going to get started on that, and we're going to get to work, see how quickly we can do it.
A few moments later.
Alright, we just pulled it out of the oven. Just going to start working my way around. It's probably going to take a few cycles at least of in and out of the oven, but just going to start working my way around, opening it up, starting with these tabs. Alright, back to the oven. And there we go. Got it off. I'll tell you what, they used plenty of sealant on this thing, but we got it. That's one light down. And one to go. Holy smokes. Luckily, I think the next one looks like it doesn't have quite as much. Hopefully. Because most of it wasn't too bad, but this top section probably had about double what was needed, and man, did it fight me. But we got it. I'm gonna work on the next one. You guys don't need to watch it, and I will catch you when I have them both apart. Alrighty guys, it is the next day. We got both the headlight lenses off last night. Now we're gonna go ahead and finish disassembling these so that we can move on to the next step. So when you take the lenses off, you don't need to worry much about touching the outside. Obviously try not to scratch it, but don't touch the inside. For whatever reason, it has some sort of special coating on the inside that is way more delicate. So just do your best not to touch the inside of the lens there. So what we need to do is take out both the reflector housings on them, which should be pretty straightforward. On this one, it is 3 Phillips heads on the lower, and then we have the adjustment screws for the top one, since that one is adjustable. So now what is left on this top one is the adjustment screws. When I was taking it apart, the top one came free. See if I can show you guys here. So right in there, that's the top one, popped out. It's got this little ball socket basically that pops into place, and then same general thing on the back here. You got 2 different ball sockets here that I'm going to pop off. I might use a heat gun to warm those up, just to try to reduce the risk of breaking any plastic on it. But we're going to pop those off, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other headlight. So now I can set this headlight aside. We're not going to need these parts right away. This is what we're going to be mounting the new projector to. But I'm going to go ahead and disassemble the other one and get that one out. Alright, so if we open up one of these projectors, we'll finally get to see what they look like. Got a bag of the mounting hardware, the plug for the high beam selector or shade, and then we have the projector itself. So here's a better look at the projector itself. Got the housing back there, bulb goes in the back, got your mounting screws. That's the threaded mounting shaft that I was telling you about right there on the back side of it. And then you got your lens up front, and then you guys can probably see there inside there's a shield right there that moves when you do your high beam and low beam. So when you're on your low beam, the shield is down there at the bottom, and it does because of the sphericalness of the lens, everything's upside down when it goes through the lens. So the shield is on the bottom, which means when your low beams are on, it's shielded and it's doing a cutoff line clean, cutting off everything on the top of the beam pattern. And when you do your high beams, that shield moves down and it opens up the entire lens. So your lights are always at their full brightness. It's just if it's shining through the full lens or half the lens. So let me see if I can show you guys that. It's always a good idea to test these out too, to make sure they are working before you assemble everything. Got a little 12-volt battery here. Let me get this rigged up real quick. So let me show you guys how this works here. It's pretty cool. Very simple, but pretty cool. So when you turn on your high beams, it will flip down the lens like that. Hopefully that's in focus. So that's low beam right there. High beams on. Low beams. High beams. So that way, when you turn on your high beams, it opens up the entire beam pattern. And when your low beams are on, it only shows half the beam pattern. Good idea to test these things out. It's handy having a little 12-volt battery. I think you can also do it with a 9-volt battery, which are more common, I guess, for probably most people. But that is how it works. It's pretty straightforward. So now we're going to do test fitting on this projector itself. And I'm probably going to do a little bit off camera, and then I will update you guys on how everything's looking. Alrighty guys, I think I got the first one mounted up just about how it's going to go. You can see in there, that is just about how it's going to sit without the shroud on it. I think it's looking pretty darn good. So it took a little bit of trimming on the back. Let me show you what I did here. So you can see here's the mounting hardware. There's a silicone washer, a big silicone washer that goes on the inside, right behind the projector, that kind of holds it in place. And then I used this big washer that came with it, a little flat washer, and then the nut that secures it in place. So what I had to do was I took this ring and trimmed it off the back. That's what sat there. And then there's also a center ring in there. And so I kind of trimmed off the bulk of it on the outer ring, didn't touch the inner ring, and then I used my disc sander or orbital sander down there, and I just sanded it down flat, working my way in slowly, and I brought it just about flush with the back of the housing. You can kind of see right in there, maybe a millimeter or two left. Still plenty of material. It's still got the full width or thickness of the housing itself, but took it down to almost flush with those fins. Give you guys a look at what it looked like before. So that's what it was before. You can see there versus that. So yes, obviously a pretty decent amount of trimming, but not that hard, just doing it nice and slow and sanding it in and making it look clean. And then went through and drilled like a 5/16 or 3/8 hole right there to get the wires out, because these will be coming all the way out the back side of the housing itself, and those come off the bottom side of the projector in there. You won't be able to see the hole once all said and done. It's just going to look like that, plus still has the beauty ring to go around the outside of the projector. But I think that's about how it's going to go. I'm not going to secure anything in place until I can get the make sure that they're properly adjusted, and then once I know that they're where I want them, then I will lock them down for sure. But I'm going to basically replicate this exact thing on the other one, and I will catch you guys when I'm done with that. Alrighty guys, we got them both mounted up in their reflector housings, and they are looking nice and clean. As you can see, you got the shroud around it now too. I thought these were going to be snap in place, but they actually had 4 screws, one there, there, and there. And I didn't see any screws that came with them. So thankfully I had some stainless steel screws here that I used, some small ones, and I only actually screwed 2 of them in place. I think 4 is pretty overkill. They're just little plastic shrouds, but got those in place. So if you happen to get the exact same ones I did, they're not snap-in, they're screw-on. I could have sworn my old ones were snap-on, but either way, they're on there. They're secure, nice and secure, and looking pretty sweet. Give you guys a look at the back. So there we go. We got the bulb holder attached there, which uses these little wire clips here. So these little wire clips pop. Work light's running out of batteries. Little wire clips pop into there, and then you can snap it down into place, and it holds the bulb in place. But that is what it looks like. I think it turned out pretty clean. So now I think my next steps are to mount them back in the housings, put the wiring harness into the truck, put the headlights into the truck without the covers on, and then I can make sure the headlights are perfectly aligned level, or not really aligned, but perfectly level, because with how sharp the cutoff lines are on these types of headlights, if the plane that you're looking at is just off kilter a little bit, it is very noticeable. So this is something I didn't do before on my old set, and it was a little bit off. I'll see if I can put a picture of it up here. You can see, I think it's the left headlight is a little bit off kilter. I'm going to try to avoid that by mounting these into the headlights, not put the lenses on yet, put it in the truck, test them out, make sure they're perfectly good and level, because then I can still go through and rotate these a little bit if I need to. And then once I'm sure that they're good, then I will take the headlights back off the truck. Don't mind the dying work light. I'll take the headlights back off the truck, and then I can reheat up the sealant around the edges and secure it all nice and good to go. Seal it all back in place, and then they can go back in the truck for the final time. But that is where we are at for now. I wanted to show you guys what these look like before going back into the headlights.